order. I see we have Councilman Shirley, Councilwoman Burgess, and Councilman Abercrombie said he would not be able to make it. Seeing that we have quorum, I'll entertain a motion to approve the March 19th minutes. Do I have a motion?
Don't move.
Do I have a second? I'm a second you, Fanita. Second by Councilwoman Burgess. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Yay. Brandon, you could just move through your financial report. You could give us an overview of the revisions to the budget. What we're going to do is we're going to move the Finance Committee that was scheduled for September 17th to August 20th, which is a Thursday at 10 a.m. That'll give me, you, and your team of professionals time to do the dance with the council members who have any questions or concerns. What we will do after the 20th meeting in August is you and I and whoever you deem necessary, we're going to have 2 office hours. I think 30 minutes sufficient. Those dates are to be determined. We're going to give the council members 2 office hours so they could parachute in and ask any questions or concerns. They want to talk, let their hair down, that they want. Because at the council meeting in September, I really want it to be smooth. I really want it to be pretty much a transaction. I don't want a whole bunch of debate about it. So from a tactical perspective, that's how I'm moving. I already chaired it with the chairwoman, so we're good to go, okay?
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours, my man.
Thank you. Again, good afternoon, Chair Gaddis and members of the Finance Committee. Today, I want to walk you through not only where the council stands financially, but how our financial position reflects the evolution of our organization. The budget, the story of this budget is not simply about expenditures. It is about how the council moved from building an institution to aligning around a strategic plan, to deploying resources that generate measurable impact. As I move through the presentation, I want to answer 5 questions. That is, how did we get here? What resources do we have? What have we already committed? And what are we investing in next? Lastly, why do these investments matter? Caesar, can you bring up the slide for me? Thank you. This slide essentially explains where we started. When the strategic plan was approved in January 2025, it gave us our first comprehensive roadmap as an organization. The plan focused on 4 areas: staff, council governance, community reinvestment, industry, and social equity entrepreneurs. Those 4 areas may seem simple, but they fundamentally change how we think about our work. And prior to the strategic plan, much of our focus was on regulatory implementation and organizational development. Today, our focus is on investment, outcomes, and impact. Everything you see in the fiscal year 2027 budget is connected back to those 4 priorities. Next slide. Whenever people see a large available balance, the first question is usually, if we had the money, why didn't we spend it? And the answer is simple, because fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26 were years of preparation. Fiscal year 25 was about building foundational infrastructure, staffing, fiscal controls, procurement procedures, compliance systems, internal policies. Fiscal year 26 was about preparing for implementation, strategic partnerships, program design, grant infrastructure, community reinvestment frameworks, entrepreneur support initiatives. So while expenditures appear low relative to budget authority, the work occurring behind the scenes positioned us to deploy resources responsibly and at scale. That preparation is exactly why we are ready for fiscal year 27. Next slide. Now let's talk about what resources we have available. As of today, we have approximately 62.6 million available in the social equity and innovation account after approved obligations and encumbrances. We have received approximately 19 million in revenue this fiscal year. That revenue is driven primarily by cannabis excise tax collections, supplemented by loan interest and principal repayments. Now, the key takeaways here, again, is simple. The council has both the resources and the liquidity necessary to execute its strategic priorities. Next slide. The next logical question becomes, what have we already committed? To date, approximately 37.4 million have been obligated. The overwhelming majority supports the Reimagine and Revitalize program. Other obligations support strategic partnerships and administrative infrastructure. Importantly, obligated does not mean spent. Many of these investments will be paid over multiple years based on performance milestones and program implementation schedules. This reflects our commitment to accountability and responsible stewardship. Next slide. All right, so one of the council's strongest performing investments, at least at the moment, remains the revolving loan fund. Today, we have 7 active loans, nearly 3 million deployed, no delinquencies, over 119,000 in interest revenue. Every single borrower remains in good standing. This portfolio demonstrates that strategic capital deployment can both support entrepreneurs and preserve public resources. I also want to just note for this body that municipalities have recently begun expressing interest in the program after learning they are eligible under the current statute. So we anticipate renewed demand once the program is fully open or fully reopens, for eligible applicants. Next slide. All right, so I wanted to spend just a few moments here because this slide explains several investments you'll see later in the fiscal year 27 budget. The Market Outlook Working Group was established to provide recommendations regarding marketplace sustainability, equity, workforce development, municipal relations, and public education. Several themes continue to emerge. First, entrepreneurs continue to need access to capital. Second, workforce pathways remain underdeveloped. Third, municipalities need better tools and engagement. And lastly, fourth, there is a need for stronger public education and youth engagement. So the working group is currently exploring recommendations including a youth advisory board, youth champions initiatives, responsible use educational campaigns, municipal toolkits, certification programs for ancillary trades, and lastly, market legitimacy campaigns to support regulated businesses. Many of these concepts are reflected in our fiscal year 27 planning and future grant opportunities. And importantly, any recommendations requiring funding above 100,000 would return to the full council for approval. Next slide. So really quickly, this is probably the most important slide in this presentation other than numbers. Fiscal year, and I just really broke it out into each of the fiscal years. But fiscal year 2025 was about enhancing or building the foundation of our organization. Fiscal year 2026 was about aligning or realigning the organization with its intent. And fiscal year 27, that will be more about investing for greater impact. That's the simplest way to understand the budget before you today. Next slide. Now, the fiscal year 27 budget aligns around 5 priorities: community reinvestment, entrepreneur resources, workforce development, strategic partnerships, program administration, and compliance. Every major expenditure category in the budget maps directly back to one of these 5 priorities. This, at least from our perspective as council staff, creates a much stronger connection between strategy and spending than we've had historically. Next slide. Hopefully, members, you all received another copy of the budget. We made sure that we added some numbers so that each of the line items can correspond with the detailed notes that you all have. But a few investments worth highlighting. First, the R2 program, which remains our largest community reinvestment strategy. Second, the proposed micro grant program. And I want to spend a moment here because members may ask about the distinction. R2 focuses on a larger scale regional investments. Micro grants allows us to do the following: support smaller, disproportionately impacted municipalities, community-based organizations not funded through the R2 program, working group innovation initiatives, and lastly, pilot programs in emerging opportunities. Third, entrepreneur support. We are proposing future grants, technical assistance, and capital access programs informed by both entrepreneur feedback and market conditions. And lastly, workforce development. This includes cannabis workforce opportunities as well as transferable skills programs such as heating, ventilation, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical work, and other trades identified through stakeholder engagement. So that pretty much describes a lot of those key highlights within fiscal year 27 budget. Next slide. Our bond strategy remains straightforward. It's pretty clear. We're going to use bond funds where statute permits for entrepreneur-focused investments. So this allows us to preserve excise tax revenue for community reinvestment and systems change initiatives. This approach maximizes the impact of both funding streams. And believe it or not, folks, next slide. In closing, Chair Gaddis and members of the committee, you can drop the screen. The council's financial position remains exceptionally strong, but what excites me most is not the balance sheet. It's the fact that we now have a strategic plan, clear priorities, strong partnerships, proven fiscal controls, and an investment framework. The question before us is no longer whether we have the resources. The question is whether we can deploy those resources in a way that creates measurable and lasting change for the entrepreneurs, our residents, and communities we were created to serve. So thus, I truly believe the fiscal 27 budget proposal positions us to do exactly that. So thanks again. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brandon. That was great. And I just want to tell you, when we do the budget in September, I'm going to do it.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do the budget. I'm going to call for the vote. I don't want any problems. All right. So I'm just going to handle it. If they have questions, I'll deal with them as best I can. Between now and September, I'm going to meet with you and your awesome team so I could get up to speed on the nuances of some of those expenditures. which, by the way, some expenditures are really investments. Like, for instance, let's talk about the staff training allocation. I think that a good hallmark of any organization is investing in its team. And I like the fact that you guys are investing in team training, conferences, whatever you need to be successful. So don't be shy about that line item, because I don't have a problem with it. And I don't have a problem with anything you presented in the budget thus far. And I'm looking forward to rolling out the budget to the full council in September. My question, though, dealt with bonding. The grant money, as you know, Brandon, being a former legislator, so bonding has stages. There's the bonding, there's the allocation, then there's the authorization. The grant money, which phase is it in?
Yeah, nuanced question, and I'll give you a really simple response. Currently, we do have an allocation of the 10 million that we are drawing down from that supports our revolving loan program. We've just recently submitted a justification around usage of those funds to expand its usage to support grant making opportunity. So as you can imagine, the conversation has been, why are you requesting more money and you have this money right here in the hopper? And what we're saying is we want to expand the usage of the funds, draw down. We literally have 40 more million that has been authorized but not allocated, and we've requested additional 20 million to support our strategic investments.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question, Brandon, about the use of grants. Is that coming out of that's coming out of the that which was allocated for loans? Is that correct?
That's the thinking. That's the thinking there. But again, we're working two tracks at the moment because we don't want any interruption around access to the current funds we have in our SIEA account while we wait from OPM to give us the response. So essentially, yes. However, we do have funds in our coffers to support the grant program as it's currently proposed.
Great.
But we're using grants interchangeably, and I just want to clarify. We have a business grant opportunity, and then there are also micro grants within our reinvestment of community funds that we are going to make available. So just want to delineate the two usage of funds around grant opportunities. On the business side, trust me, there will be eligibility requirements. Karain and Avery will be working around the business suite alongside Fanita. So a lot of thinking there, but I did want to clarify so that folks don't commingle grant making opportunities that we have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shirley, for those questions. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Yeah, I like it. All right. Anything else, Brandon?
No, sir. If you can just repeat again for the sake of the meeting notes, when are we meeting, the cadence, and
Sure, no problem. No problem. We're going to meet August 20th, which is a Thursday at 10 a.m. And at that meeting, we'll tackle the budget revision recommendation that's going to the full council on the 1st. In between the 20th and the 1st, the SEC team and myself will conduct 2 office hours so that council members who are inquisitive could drop by and talk to us so we could avoid a lot of banter at the council meeting. And I also plan, I was going to say this, but I tell you, I also plan to call each council member myself to see if they have any questions that they want to talk about privately about the budget, because I really don't want the meeting to be have any friction. I want it to be really a transaction. So that's what I'm looking to do from a tactical perspective. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So is everyone good with business being concluded by consent? All right. Consent.
We gave the transparency.
Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for everything.
Got it. All right.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.